Hey everybody, in the previous videos I was telling you about how to use the frame of the human body to set up the Christian yoke, and how as the world presents itself to you, because you've gathered a point on each side, you know what is in the midst of them. And then you simply don't lean. You don't lean toward what you want or away from what you don't want. And just by not leaning, you're in the middle place. You're in the straight and narrow place between left and right. And how this matches when people make the sign of the cross, it matches this part of it. And that there's a place between too high and too low, too much and too little. It's this plane, and it's represented in this part, right? So I already talked about that, and but there's this Catholic saint, a really cute one. See her? Saint Therese of Lisieux. There's some pretty rough-looking characters in each of the religious traditions that somehow become esteemed as saints. But this person, if you ever want to look at a beautiful one, that's this person. And she's famous for her little way, a little way. So I was practicing this method that I told you about before. I call it how to surf or skateboard without a board, because basically, a simple explanation is, you know how surfers have a foot on one side of the board and a foot on the other. And then as life presents itself to them, they sink their center of gravity down between the 2 feet, and whatever's offered they can hold to and abide in as yoked in the place of balance, no matter what the world presents. And it's possible when a person sits in devotion to establish a similar thing. I don't have to repeat that because I've explained it so many times, but once you learn how to do that, then you realize that it's not even so much the frame of the human body, but rather, like if I sit here and I feel both sitting bones evenly, right? When the world presents itself to me, I'll tend to lean. If it's one thing that I really like an ice cream cone, then it's a no-brainer. Of course, I'm going to lean toward it. Or I lean away from things I don't like. But it's possible to go through life without leaning. It's possible to set up this kind of a scale, feel both sitting bones evenly, as this example. And then when the ice cream cone comes, before it arrives, you abide as balance. When it first presents itself, you surf the balance point. And when the ice cream cone comes to you, you accept it, all the while being balanced. And then you enjoy the cone. And in the enjoying, it's like offering it in devotion. You have your daily life activities that you're going to do anyway. So the question is not just eating the ice cream cone, but all the activities of life. Can you offer them in devotion to God, So it's a way of setting up a scale, a literal Christian yoke. By not leaning in any direction, you abide in this straight gate, the place between right and left. And then there's a place that's too much and too little, too high and too low. But between the two is a place that also doesn't miss the mark. It's just right. And in that place, it also doesn't have to change. So, not missing the mark, it's good there. And that's where you abide when you use the frame of the body to sit in devotion. You learn these lessons by practicing in this way, that no matter how the world presents itself, you just abide in this place of steadiness because you have the aid of having gathered the 2 or 3, the 2 or more, and knowing what is in the midst of them. So you simply feel the sitting bones, and then if you feel one more than another, then it's instructive. You realize, oh, I feel that one more than the other one. Gee, which way should I return so as not to go out into the world? That way. So then you just return. And you stay in this place that the place of balance, and the place of balance is freedom. So you learn the lesson this way, but then But then once you know how to do this relating to the physical body, then you do this. So I'm feeling both sitting bones evenly, right? And now, still feeling them evenly, I'm just going to put my mind on this one. See, when I put my mind on that one, I feel that one more than the other. Or if I'm feeling them evenly, right? I'll put my mind on that one, then I feel that one more than the other. So actually it tells you how to move the mind in such a way as to surf the same place. And this means that it's not even limited to the physical posture, that you can learn how to move your mind to the sweet spot, to the place that doesn't miss the mark. And you can actually observe that place, whether you observe it by watching the breath in a way similar to the Buddhists would do. I mean, you learn the lesson at first by finding the place between left and right. But then once you know this, then you can turn this, any other plane, and you still have the sweet spot. And that's where you can, it's a place of refuge. It's a place of rest where you can, whether it's by observing the breath or just anywhere. You know how to put your mind. That's what I'm saying. And when you practice in this way, what I've found, I was sitting in church the other day, and I was listening to the person who was speaking. I was listening to their words, and I was finding the place between the up and down of their words. It may sound kind of weird, but you can actually do this. And there's a place between the two, between the up and the down, that that was a place of refuge in their speech. It was wild. So what happens with this beautiful person? She's also talking about the straight and narrow way. She's also talking about the straight gate. But sometimes people get so focused on the big, external, apparent world that they don't always dive deep. And so when I was putting my mind on that person's speech and on the place between too high and too low, I realized that I could keep to that place, but I could make it smaller. I could make it like super small. And when you make it smaller, then you dive deeper. That was pretty interesting to me. So that's a way to dive deep. You can, and actually, you can learn that lesson and you can apply it onto the world. That's what I'm trying to say. The way you learn it, though, it's pretty simple. It's a no-brainer. You just set up this kind of a scale. The world around you is ever new. It's always presenting itself in birth and death. In the newness of each new presentation that has never occurred from the beginning of time, the arrival, the newness, that is considered birth because it forms in a new way in which it had never been before. This unique presentation has never occurred before. But then, sure enough, it'll pass away, it'll become something else, and that's death. And as you sit here, you don't lean, no matter what the presentations of the world. You've heard the words dive deep before from some of the other traditions. So what I'm saying is try, you already have the place, try making it smaller. Like if you're used to this wide, right? Try to make that as small as possible. And when you make it smaller, see if that doesn't bring you deeper, right? That's my experiment of the last few days. So many blessings, and thanks for subscribing. Much love. And study if you're in the local Utah area, man, you might want to check out either the Catholic Church or the Awakening Valley Sangha, the local Buddhist temple they have here too. Is pretty cool.